Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Ella.O, the breath mama, and it's Wednesday again, which can only mean one thing. It's time for the Hump Day Huff. So the Hump Day Huff is me sharing a little breath practice for you to try at home yourself. Something that's easy and straightforward and that you will get a benefit from. So why breath work? What is it about breath work that's so important? Why do I care about it so much? Our breath is the foundation of our vitality. So lots of us will think, well, I breathe every single day. It doesn't really matter. I don't need to change the way I breathe because I'm here, I'm living, and I'm totally fine. Yes, on the one hand, your breath is keeping you going without you having to give it any special attention or focus. And that's because it's part of your autonomic nervous system. So it happens whether or not you focus on it. But it is the only part of your autonomic nervous system that you can consciously influence and affect change over. So that gives you a massive clue as to the importance of it, because we can't change our digestion, circulation. What else happens automatically? Elimination, those kinds of things. We don't have direct control over them, but our breath we do. So when we learn to harness this, we can really help ourselves experience some really powerful and amazing physical states. And the other thing about breath that I just want to touch on today, the vitality influences our cells and how they are fueled and how they function, and most importantly, the functioning of the brain. So when we breathe better and consciously, we are affecting the fuel that the brain receives and enhancing its function. I mean, that's just a tiny snippet of the importance of our breathing. So why would you not want to get a little bit more personal with it? Today's exercise is super simple and super straightforward. It is a yogic breath. And when we carry out a yogic breath or practice a yogic breath, we are trying to engage activity of all of our lungs and all of our respiration in this breath. So we're going to start off by getting the breath into the lower part of our lungs. So when we breathe in, the belly is going to start expanding with the inhale. And it's going to fill up and fill up and fill up. And then we're going to move it up into the mid part of the lungs, the mid part of the lobes. And they're going to fill up and expand. And as we move to this mid part, our ribs are going to start moving outwards in all directions. And then we're going to bring the breath further up into the chest area, mid-chest area, and we're going to feel some slight movement here. And then we're going to try and bring it all the way up to the top lobes of the lungs, which is going to mean that when we first practice this, we're going to start feeling it around our clavicles or the collarbones. And as we try and bring the breath up into this space here, we might notice some tension around here and in the lungs. So this part of the body will start to move very subtly as we encourage the breath to come all the way up. So you might feel some feedback, some tightness in this area, and that's normal. The rest of the body should be relaxed whilst you do this. And then when you've reached the top of that expansion and filling up of air in the lungs, then the exhale begins to happen. And again, this is a slow, gradual process of releasing the air from this area, moving down into the lungs, into the chest, the top of the abdomen and the lower abdomen. And as you get to the bottom of the exhale, the belly will start to retract, and you can also encourage it to move back in towards the spine. Obviously, I say obviously, you're not actually going to get your belly to touch your spine, but it's having that intention to retract it back and then taking a pause before you begin the process again. So from the beginning of when you start filling up the air in the lower part of the lungs and moving upwards towards the clavicles, and then the exhale out again, that's 1 round. And you can try and repeat, when you start out, 5 to 10 rounds. The more you practice this, you can start increasing that up to 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, all the way up to 10 minutes. This is going to really boost your connection with your breath. If you can hear some noise in the background, that's our Nikki cooking. And she might even set the fire alarm off, because that's how we know she's definitely cooking. You know, you have that one child that makes you go, I was saying to her earlier, I digress, I know. I was saying to her earlier that when it was lockdown and she was kept in one place and I knew where she was, my life was a lot calmer, a lot less stressful. But now she's out there in the wild. Anything can happen. She's got 2 parking tickets on her car. I really need this breath. Because it helps you feel calmer, increase the oxygen levels, and when you slow down your breathing and expand it into deeper breaths, you start connecting with a nerve that travels from the optic nerve here, so the base of your skull, all the way down your body. It's called the vagus nerve. And that helps support stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is all about the rest and digest response in the body. It's all about bringing us into a state of calm, a state of relaxation, out of that stress response, which we can spend a lot of time in without even realizing it. It becomes our usual place to hang out. So we're going to start with the breath coming into the lower lungs, expanding the belly outwards, and then just traveling all the way up as one smooth action. And then when we reach the top here, that's the top of the inhale, then we exhale and get rid of the air in reverse, gently welcoming the belly towards the spine and pausing for a moment when we finish that round before we begin again. So I'm going to demo it. I remember when I first learned this, I was kind of in the false belief that there was a pause between each stage of filling up the lungs. But we're going to do it as like a sea swelling, you know, like when the wave comes in and it gets big and then it goes out again. So that's how we're going to practice. So I will demonstrate 1 round. It helps if you close the eyes to internalize the process and really feel what's going on in your body. And also another note is to try and stay as silent as possible with the breath, because when we're silent, there's no restriction. So if, for example, I'm restricting how much breath can come in my nose because I'm pinching it closed, or I'm restricting something here which makes the sound audible. So if we can try and make it as quiet as possible, then that means that there's less restriction on the airwaves on the inhale. So just gently closing of eyes. If you're sitting up, allowing your seat bones to connect to your support. And if you are lying down, giving your body a moment to just settle into your space. And we begin with the inhale. So I just did 3 rounds there, and I feel like a definite change in my state. I feel much more centered just with 3 rounds. I feel more connected within. I feel really super chilled. So this is, I guess, a tricky one to demonstrate in terms of there's not much really going on that you can see visually. You may have noticed as I was getting towards the top of my breath, there was movement here. I don't know how much that was picked up. And then I made it more audible on the exhale, breathing out through my nose. But yeah, it's my invitation to you to try out the full yogic breath. Let me know how it feels. Let me know if it made a difference to your mood or to your body, if you felt more relaxed, how you got on with it. Was it easy? Did you find it tricky to make that space in your body and to extend your inhale and your exhale for such a long amount of time? Let me know in the comments. Share this video, like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you next Wednesday for another Hump Day Huff. I gotta stop doing those silly faces.